Well, hello, good people. I'm Alviin King, host of He Said, He Said, He Said, a look at the world from a seasoned Black man's perspective. It is Friday, March the 1st. Spring is on the way, and welcome to our live show. Good evening again, everybody, and welcome to He Said, He Said, He Said, a look at the world from a seasoned Black man's perspective. Wow, can you believe today is March the 1st? And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Pisces season. I'm not sure. I heard someone say that the other day. But welcome to our show, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for being here on this Friday. As I said in the opening, spring is definitely on the way. I want to take this time to thank all of you who tuned in last weekend for our third anniversary show. It was really one of my favorite shows that we've done, because we got an opportunity to invite guests back to the show. How you doing, Kendall? We got a chance to invite guests back to the show, ladies and gentlemen, and it just made for a fun evening. Alma Gill with Ask Alma, Raheem Briggs, the CEO of Project Briggs, and author, novelist Dwayne Vernon, and we cannot forget film director with the golden smile, Ashton Pina was here celebrating with us, and we just had a fantastic time. How you doing, Vincent? Thank you for joining the show tonight. About our show tonight, we are going to get newsy tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and while putting this show together, the only thing I kept coming up with is, this is America. I mean, this is America. So much is happening, and you can't make a lot of it up, ladies and gentlemen. And tonight we are going to definitely talk about it, and we're gonna share some stuff with you guys. And please feel free to chime in and be a part of the conversation. I know it's a day late, but this is leap year. And for those of you who celebrated, your birthdays on yesterday, I think it's every 4 years. I don't know how you all deal with that. I have a friend whose birthday was yesterday, who lives in Atlanta, and I didn't get a chance to talk to him. But leading up to it, he was just so hyped about his birthday being on leap year, and I didn't really realize it until yesterday on his birthday. So happy belated birthday to all of you. How you doing, Monica? And before I bring the guys in, I wanted to also share with you, for those of us who know what student loan debt can do to you, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it is something that we just want to blink our eyes, and we hope that it goes away. Earlier this week, a woman by the name of Ruth Gottsman, she's an American educator. She's also the chair of the board of trustees at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine in the Bronx, New York. And she's a longtime professor there also. This 93-year-old widow of a Wall Street financier has donated $1 billion to a Bronx medical school, the Albert Einstein College of Medicine, with instructions that the gift be used to cover tuition for all students going forward. It's one of the largest charitable donations to an educational institution in the United States, and most likely the largest to a medical school. I mean, truly, I want to look in my email, and I didn't go to medical school, but Ruth, if you got some friends, please tell them to call whatever, the Board of Education or whatever you need to do. That donation was, humongous. And I just had to give her some credit, because for all of you guys who are going to medical school, or this particular medical school, you will have no student loans. All right, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing, Blue? As I said, we're going to get newsy with you guys tonight. So if you all are ready, let me bring in my guys for the chat. Hey, guys.
Hello, hello. You know what I love about her donation? She didn't do it to get a building named after her.
Right.
Yeah. She's like, look, let me bring and put more doctors in the world. Let me get this money that my husband said I can do whatever I want to do with. And she has changed lives, and it will be a ripple effect forever, I hope.
Absolutely. The fact that they want tuition is it's extraordinary. They just have to go and focus on their studies. They do not have to worry about the cost of education, which is often what gets in the way for so many people. So it's extraordinary.
Yeah.
Well, I got so excited when I saw the story. Of course, I didn't read the full story. All I saw was a woman who has donated $1 billion to erase student loan debt. That's what I saw when I first saw the story earlier this week. And then when I thought about, well, I need to talk about her, and I did the research, I'm like, now, not that, she did it for them. But Ruth, if you got any friends, as I said, I would love to open my email and they say your student loan debt has been wiped out, Alviin King. I would just love to see that. But how are you guys doing? You've had a great week?
Good week. Good week. And you?
I have. I can't complain. Lots of work for me. Yeah. As always. But it was a good week. I'm ready for the weekend. That is for sure.
It was a post that I saw on social media earlier this week saying that Mother Nature is acting like she's playing Powerballs with these temperatures like 69, 13, 22. Like, who knows what the weather's going to be from day to day.
Didn't it snow like 20 or so inches yesterday? Or was it today? Someplace I heard that it snowed. I'm sure I changed the channel because
you were like, I don't even want to entertain that.
I don't even want to hear and put me in that spot. But yeah, the weather has just been, I don't want to say unpredictable, because it has been everything that they said it was going to be on the days that it was going to be that way.
It is just as strange as we are experiencing it. They are able to see that wind patterns have changed. They're getting winds down. As Blue said, in California, in the Sierras, they are expecting 8 feet of snow between now and Monday.
That's what I heard. I said 20 inches, 8 feet. Oh my God.
8 feet. That's just, yeah. I mean, and they've explained how and why, that it's happening, but it's still kind of crazy.
That's me stacking my feet 8 times. I'm a 12, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a 12. It don't take math, to do it. How you doing, Xavier? Thank you for joining us tonight. Hey, Errol. Hey, Nishi. Thanks for joining us tonight. And Rodney, thank you for joining us as well.
You know what? I'm going to get the chat started today. Because as Alvin is extolling his 12 foot, it reminds me of something else that has to do with feet, and that's skating, and that's history making. Howard University, my alma mater, once again creating history and becoming the first HBCU to have its own skating program. Now, it's not connected to the athletic department exactly, so it is an intercollegiate skating team that will compete on an intercollegiate way, but it is the beginning of introducing an Olympic sport at an HBCU level that has never done before. And of course, Howard has led the way in doing some of these things. And of course, I'm a very proud graduate, as I said. They were the first HBCU to have their own swim and dive team, which landed them on the front cover of Sports Illustrated last year. But there are other colleges, HBCUs out here that are doing it as well. Fisk University became the first HBCU gymnastics program to compete in the NCAA event. And Tennessee State University will soon have the first HBCU hockey team next winter. So HBCUs are out here making history and bringing Olympic sports to their programs and introducing new sports to young students all across the country. Very proud.
Hey, look, I didn't even go to Howard and I'm proud. Okay. I'm really proud. But Bobby, I also, while you were talking about this, it made me think there were at least 3 that I know, black figure skaters, female, that have like dominated. And I think one of them, Debbie Thomas, is one of them. For those of you who remember her, Debbie Thomas she was fire. You know what I'm saying? I did have this is not a read, ladies and gentlemen, but this was before the girls started pulling their hair back. And I used to have an issue with Debbie saying, pull that hair back before you fall.
Debbie was an extremely successful skater. As you said, she was an 86 world champ in 86 and won Olympic bronze in 88, actually. So, and she went on to become a physician.
On fire. And of course, Surya Bonale. Now, I know everybody knows who this is.
This was no joke skating at this point. In fact, there were countries that literally tried to ban Surya from skating because they said she was too athletic. She was doing all of those flips and twists and turns and they couldn't even compete with it. And so they tried to ban her, Alvin, from skating because she was that good.
Ridiculous. I love what she brought to the ice. I did. I used to wait until she came on. Because I just wanted to see her, if nothing else, do something that no one else was doing. You know what I mean? Absolutely. I used to love that. And right now, dominating the ice, her name is Star Andrews. Beautiful girl. Yeah, she's taking figure skating by storm. So I thought of them when we were talking about, Howard University and the history that's being made with the figure skaters. So yeah, I did.
Of course, here we have an image of history, saluting history, a congratulatory note from the first female vice president in the history of our country. Also a Howard graduate, Kamala Harris, congratulating the ice skaters.
Nice.
Thank you. Oh, and before we go, isn't this week or today Howard University's 157th birthday?
Aren't you? I wasn't going to bring up Charter Day weekend. It is Charter Day. It's Charter weekend. Yeah.
We have one of their babies on the show. Why not? Okay.
I know. There should be cake.
Cake. Why don't we have cake?
I know.
Let there be cake. Yeah, a lot of folks are in town this weekend for Charter Day celebrations. It's just a banner year. And of course, we had mentioned earlier before, this fall will be the 100th anniversary of the homecoming celebration. So that's going to be lots of Howard celebrating going on right now. So yeah,
give me some Daisy Dukes. I need to be on the yard. Okay,
is that coinciding with Freaknik being released?
I need to be on the yard. Okay.
We never did any freaky anything at Howard University.
You better be careful before Vash, his screen is going to blow up. Okay,
lightning is going to strike. Please don't let
I think before we went on the air, we were all talking about how glad we were that we grew up, if you will, at a time where there were none of these.
Yeah. Somewhat. But congratulations, Bobby.
Thank you so much. HU,
Thank you.
Well, have you guys heard all the chatter about what's going on with Wendy's? Recently, Kirk Tanner.
There are a lot of Wendy's. You're talking the restaurant this time, right?
The restaurant. I know. You know what? Because we're gonna talk about that.
We're gonna talk about that.
Look, the only Wendy that we're not talking about is the one that knows Peter Pan. Every other Wendy, if
you're gonna be talking about it,
we talk about you tonight. So, Kirk Tanner, the new CEO and president of Wendy's, shared with analysts that they're going to be rolling out ways to improve company profits, including a digital menu board that would allow them to more easily change prices of items. And they're calling it dynamic pricing. Well, the market went a little crazy and compared what they said they were going to do to surge pricing, which is what Uber does when they raise prices based on the time and whether or not there are a lot of drivers. And the folks at Wendy's were like, that's not what we said. That's not what we said. They're like, we're going to use dynamic pricing. They're like, we're not doing surge pricing, which is the practice of raising prices when demand is at its highest. They're like, we didn't say that. We didn't use that, nor do we plan to do that. Right? They're like, we're going to use these digital menu boards to give more flexibility to what items they can show and what they can sell, and to offer specials throughout the day, especially during slow times. So instead of raising prices during busy times, it appears that what they want to be able to do is lower prices at times. You know, you've been having burgers. I don't know if you guys have ever worked in a fast food place, but you can only keep food on the racks for a certain length of time. So if you've had burgers sitting up there for 20 minutes and you got to get rid of them, well, you put up a special on the board. That seems to be what they're trying to do. So in response to all this turmoil, Burger King was like, well, look, we're just going to give people burgers and have them come to us. So they did that for a few days. But Wendy's is very clear. We're not just raising our prices arbitrarily. We are actually trying to give people better pricing.
See, Vash, I was getting ready to say, what you talking about, Vash? Because because, you know, I think that's a trick, because some Popeyes that I don't go to, that chicken will be sitting up there for hours. You know what I'm saying? And they will sell it at the same price. So I don't know why. Okay, Wendy's, I think Wendy's just needed some attention because Chick-fil-A was coming at them. Okay, some other fast food restaurants have been coming at them, because I was just thinking, wait a minute, you can spin it all the way you want. What people heard was, I show up at 11 o'clock and buy a burger for $2. And I just decide, you know what, I want another one. And I go back at 11:15, and that same $2 burger is now $4.50.
But if $4.50 is the regular price, that might be what happens. See, the issue was the surge pricing. They said flexible pricing, and people implied surge pricing. So they're like, if our burgers are $4.50, we're not raising them beyond $4.50. We just may drop them down a little bit less. This is what the research has been said. And this is what they are saying now. Who knows what they're going to do once they start rolling out these flexible digital menu things, but they wanted to at least clarify. And considering that they're not Kellogg's who are telling people to eat cereal for dinner, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt for a little bit.
I am so proud of you for giving them the benefit of the doubt. I heard that story on several different channels, and it was pricing. They were not trying to discount anything. They were saying that the regular price would be the regular price, and then it would go up during peak times such as lunch and dinner time, and they are spinning their heads off their shoulders at this point.
But who said that? Who was saying the surge pricing?
It was mentioned on all three networks, because I was following, because I couldn't believe they were doing it.
Exactly.
But they were saying not only are they going to do it, that other restaurants, other chains are watching this to see if they would follow along with it.
All I'm saying is, when I did research, because I was like, this seems odd, and you know, I always check different sources. That's when I saw the comments from Wendy's officials saying, no, that's not what our plan is. So more shall be revealed.
More shall be revealed. And I'm just going to say to anybody who's having issues with it, now's the time to lose weight. Don't go to Wendy's, okay? Don't go there, because you don't know what's going to happen. You know, take those calories somewhere else. Go walking. Do something, but you don't have to go to Wendy's. How you doing, Dwayne? Thank you for being here. My beautiful niece, Dr. Anita, is here. Thank you for being here, my sweet niece. Thank you. Yeah, but I say, you know, go lose. Don't go lose weight. But look, yesterday also, or I'm sorry, 2 days ago, something happened, and you know, I had some feelings about it, and I talked to my friends and people who I know in my circle very closely. And I'm talking about this week, Madonna was asked by Luther Vandross's estate to remove his image from her concert during her Live and Tell part of the show, where she showed pictures of people who had passed away from AIDS or HIV. Freddie Mercury, Herb Ritz, and Keith Haring were amongst the the folks that were there. And you know, when I heard that Luther's estate had done that, first of all, you know, I immediately my heart went out to them, you know, out of respect and just being, you know, sensitive to it. But then it turned to, because I was seeing people blame Madonna for doing it. And I said, you know, guys, I don't think Madonna did it out of being insensitive.
No.
She didn't do it out of being insensitive. I happen to think that she did it because our community is very strong, is very small. And when you add the respect that Black people, particularly straight, have for Luther Vandross, it is undeniably huge. Then you add homophobia, guilt, shame, and stigma associated with AIDS and HIV to the mix, and you wonder. And I do respect the estate, but I don't think Madonna was being insensitive about it.
I don't think she was being insensitive. I just, you know, because as soon as we talked about it, I just went out to see what was listed as his cause of death, and it was listed as a heart attack. I don't know whether or not he had HIV or AIDS. I do believe that she was just trying to honor him, but if that's not what he technically passed away from,
right,
then they're like, please don't put that out there, because that's not what is listed on his death certificate. Right. So
I think that I agree with you, Alvin. I think she was trying to honor a musical icon. When you look at the people that she saluted, they were all iconic figures in pop culture. And I think that, there were a lot of people who made the assumption that that was the cause of Luther Vandross's death. I don't know. I think we are all aware of the great stigma that was associated with this virus and this disease over time. And particularly in communities of color, there has always been a bit of hesitancy to list that as, and I am speaking now from a very personal space, because you guys know I lost my only sister to HIV and AIDS. And I remember having conversations with family members who, now her ultimate cause of death was pneumonia, but it was related. It was an HIV related issue. And there were family members who literally said, well, you're not going to mention that. You'll just say pneumonia. So I cannot speak because I don't know what caused Luther Vandross's death, but I am certainly familiar with how families have chosen to not acknowledge the connection to the virus or to the disease, even if the actual cause of someone's death was not listed as the disease per se.
Right. I'm so glad that you said that, Bobby, because I am also going to share a personal story that's similar to that. My first partner died of AIDS, and his family, he was very well known, very prominent. And his family told me, we're not going to put that on the death certificate. And I said, okay, of course, before marriage equality, though we had wills, there were certain things that you just didn't do. So that did not get put on his death certificate. And I became so furious about them doing that I spent my last dime making 2 quilts from all of the clothes that he had designed, and I put those quilts in the AIDS quilt. His quilts are there. And when I heard this story about how Luther's family is, the estate is saying that he did not, I respect it.
Yep.
But it also brought back something that said, okay. Because there were people in that circle that Bobby, and you probably know, Vash, that knew Luther Vandross, even Madonna during that time, that could probably say something different, even though the death certificate says something else. And Dr. Donita said her intent may have been malicious, or may not have been malicious, but asking the family estate for permission would have been a sign of respect. And I did say that I wanted to read what the family said. Go ahead, Vash. You were going to say something?
No, I was just going to ask, do we know? Because I knew friends who knew Luther's choreographer, and it was never said that Luther passed away or had any complications with HIV or AIDS. So I'm curious. I literally do not know.
No, I agree. I don't either. But there was a lot of speculation at that time
a lot of speculation, and
about
I'm
him
gonna
having AIDS.
about him having AIDS. Yes, died of AIDS. And this is what the family says: Luther Vandross passed away in 2005 due to complications from a stroke suffered 2 years earlier. While we appreciate Madonna's recognition of those lives lost to AIDS, Luther was never, and it was all capitalized, diagnosed with AIDS or the HIV virus, they said. We're not sure where she or her production team received false medical information, claiming otherwise. We're currently in contact with her management to remove Luther Vandross from the tribute. That, and she did. Immediately, it was taken away. But I just, for those who have heard that story, who I've talked to, it brought up history.
Of
and
course.
Unless you lived through that period, you have no idea about the stigma that was associated with it. And someone like Luther Vandross, a lot of people are, they got pregnant while he was alive. You know what I'm saying? Their babies are named after Luther Vandross. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to I don't think Madonna was being insensitive is what I wanted to share.
I think we also have to acknowledge there was a lot of speculation about Luther in a variety of ways. I mean, his own sexuality, Luther never claimed heterosexuality, homosexuality, none of that. But there was always speculation that he was a homosexual. It was never confirmed or documented in any official way. Mm-hmm. And so, his death, the speculation around his death is just a continuation of speculation about the personal and private life of Luther Vandross.
Mm-hmm.
I've had friends who know him personally, but I will not go on record right now and say what I know my friends have shared with me about Luther, because I don't want our little show to get shut down. Number one, I'm on this note. I'm just going to say I respect, his family, but the main point I wanted to drive home is that I do not think Madonna was being insensitive. Because the circles are too small, and so I respect our viewers' opinion. She could have asked, but I just think that she wasn't being insensitive. So thanks for letting me share that, because very personal, and I just wanted to share that with you guys.
I certainly agree with you. I don't think she was being insensitive, and her immediate response to remove it, I think reflects that she was
no argument whatsoever.
She's such an ally.
Yeah. Come on, she's not just a material girl. So it's time for top stories, baby.
Our next item in the chat is a big shout out to those Democratic governors who are out here on the front line trying to protect Black history and Black books. And they include our own wonderful, active and very attractive Maryland Governor Wes Moore, whose quote was quite memorable. Governor Moore said that Black History Month reminds us that our present is the result of the fights, struggles, and victories of those who came before us. And when you hold that truth close to your heart, you quickly realize that there is nothing that you cannot achieve. Those who seek to erase history are taking direct aim at a unique source of strength and pride within all of our communities, because those who do not learn from their past will never know their power. It's why we must stand together to protect our history and be unapologetic about it. Quote from Maryland Governor Wes Moore. But he is not alone. There are others. California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill late last year prohibiting school boards across the state from banning books, instructional materials, or educational courses categorized as inclusive or diverse. And they were doing these things in response to other states like Texas and Florida that were literally coming out with bans and so here are a couple of books that were up to be banned and are banned in many states increasing states across the country.
I'm just glad that these public figures are really working behind the scenes. I'm not kind of working behind the scenes, but this whole banning of Black books and trying to erase history, when is it going to stop? You know what I'm saying? And I'm just glad to see them, especially two of my favorite governors.
Yes.
I'm glad. And we can't put race in here. One's black, one's white.
One is
You know
white.
what I'm saying? And so you can't say that. So I'm glad to see that happening.
It's unfortunate because I do believe that there are people who simply do not want the context of American history to be taught. There are people who are an active part of an active movement to really try to just erase and rewrite history.
Mm-hmm.
Figuring that if they don't say certain things, eventually people will indeed forget, and they're right about that. But when you see textbooks that are written in Florida, for instance, that are saying, Rosa Parks got up, and not saying that she was moved and she was not allowed to sit in the seat because of the color of her skin.
Right.
It's tied into the donation that the woman made to the medical school.
Absolutely.
The reason why things are not being taught is because a while ago, this country realized, hey, we are educating our proletariat. And if we educate them and they know all the things that we have done, we will not be able to continue to do them. And that is what is happening. If it was so very clear what happened to the Native Americans in this country and what happened to Black people in this country, then we would be looking overseas to other areas and what is going on with a completely different lens, because you couldn't pull the wool over people's eyes. They're like, it's already happened twice.
Right.
It's clearly happening again over there. So it's a suppression in order to keep doing what is being done. Do you guys remember when the movie Avatar was released, the first one, not the second one, which is clearly about colonialism and an attempt at a genocide? It was playing in China, and China was like, we can't do that. We're doing the same thing right now to these other people over there, where we're putting a dam and pull it from the theaters. So it's in that realm. I mean, it's not just trying to get people to forget. It's like, you can't teach them this, because then they will know when it's happening right now.
It's happening right now.
And it diminishes from the belief and the premise of supremacy, that one race would be superior over another. Because the reality of it is, when you look at people, and particularly in the United States of America, people of color who continue to rise and dominate and succeed and thrive and all this, in spite of hundreds of years of systemic oppression, in spite of it, you don't want that taught, because it diminishes your argument that you are better than someone else.
See, sometimes I leave our panel sometimes, most times invigorated, sometimes me, evil. I'm just like, they just fueled me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm so glad that you researched this, Bobby, and brought this to life for a conversation tonight, because we need to stay awake. I hate that word woke. We need to stay awake.
And we need to be inspired. Thank you, Alan. And we need to be encouraged and inspired to know that there are indeed politicians and lawmakers out there who are indeed standing up against some of the things that are going. Because we see we hear a lot about the other.
Yeah.
But we also need to be reminded there are people out here who are standing up to ensure that history is taught from a space and place of truth.
So it's not repeated, and people can be empowered to do what is supposed to be the most American thing, which is to rise and become whoever you want to be, because everyone has the opportunity.
Absolutely.
As I said earlier, this is America.
You saw how I
okay. I said this is America. Okay. Blue said all of this will stop once 45 is stopped. And, Rose, how you doing, Rose? Haven't seen Rose in a while. Thank you for joining us. She agrees with us and says all book banning is an effort to control thought and history. And I do know that Rose is an avid reader. So thank you, Rose. Thank you, guys. Great conversation. Great.
Yeah. Always. I love it. I love our Fridays. So a few weeks ago, we reported that the New York District Attorney General Letitia James was going off after the NRA and its current and former officials, vendors, and contractors for improperly using the nonprofit's funds on lavish travel and other personal expenses. Well, here's an update, because we always say we're going to update you, more shall be revealed. Well, last week, a New York jury found that the NRA and 3 of its current and former officials, Wayne LaPierre, the longtime head of the NRA, its former treasurer and chief financial officer, Wilson Phillips, and John Frazier, who is still serving as the group's corporate secretary and general counsel, all had broken the state's laws by misusing charitable assets. It determined that the two of the officials should repay the NRA millions of dollars. In response to this verdict, the NRA said that they've been victimized by certain former vendors and insiders who abused the trust placed in them by the association. And they listed a bunch of other things that they are doing and plan to do to get their house back in order. So, all I can say is Letitia James is rocking the house, and we're going to keep you guys informed of this and everything else she's doing because she's a rock star.
I just want to say we just left, obviously, Black History Month, but March, because of course you guys know I'm at a school and we recognize these cultural recognitions every month. It's Women's History Month.
Yeah. It is. It is.
And Letitia James,
carving her place,
whose intersectionality bridges both Black History and Women's History Month. She is taking no prisoners.
I have a question because I don't know this.
Yes.
Is she married?
I don't know if Letitia James is married.
She does like men with big feet, so you in.
Well, I'm just hoping I'm just hoping that her husband or boyfriend, whoever, doesn't work for the courts. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna leave it right there. Okay.
She is too successful. Look, she told Trump, she was like, and this man is paying interest every single day, we might point out. And now she told the NRA, you all have been fraudulent as well, and I'm coming after you as well. So she is definitely being seen as a threat because they are digging. They are looking for something to show.
They are looking for something on her, and I just hope that her security team is well aware of it and they're taking care of her. And God, please continue looking over Letitia James, okay? Because she's doing what she does.
Yes.
But thank you. Well, we're going to move from one court to another, ladies and gentlemen, in a different state. We're going to talk about the Alabama court ruling that frozen embryos are children and its impact on the future of IVF treatment. Well, the Alabama Supreme Court has decided that fertilized eggs, called embryos, are already born before they are placed in a uterus. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your kids to bed if they don't know how babies are made. Please do. Which is where babies are developed. If you destroy them, you could be accused of wrongful death. And so in doing my research, I was like, well, how did we get here? And all of this began when several frozen embryos were accidentally destroyed by a hospital patient in Alabama in 2020. The three couples whose embryos were destroyed then sued the fertility clinic for wrongful death of a minor. And on February 16th, the Alabama Supreme Court ruled that frozen embryos do legally count as children. Specifically, the opinion referred to as these embryos as, I think you pronounce it, extraordinary children. And the Chief Justice Tom Parker, in his opinion wrote, even before birth, all human things have the image of God, and their lives cannot be destroyed without him facing his glory, which has raised some eyebrows for obvious reasons. Anything y'all want to say about that?
They should not be using their religion to make decisions about the population in this country. And the fact that statement came out of his mouth
was enough to overturn that decision that he made.
It should be.
And it should be.
They've actually already started backpedaling because of the backlash and the pushback on this. I was told that the reason why the decision was made was to allow the couple that was suing to get higher damages. If they could say that it was a child that was killed, then that has a higher, penalty or compensation amount. That's kind of why they did it. But now they've got to backpedal because IVF treatments have had to stop because no one wants to be responsible for wrongful death and manslaughter
and the trauma behind the people who are trying to conceive. I mean, going through IVF is not an easy thing. I know few couples who are going through that, and it's not easy. And when I heard that, it just turned my stomach. And I could go to the edge, as we always say when we're having a conversation, but I don't want to jump, because in my mind, it is not a child. It is not a child until it goes through, as said, the uterus. So it's not a child. So why is that so hard for me to see? I mean, for them to see. Is it because he's putting his religion in front of it?
But isn't it written somewhere that life begins at the first breath? Isn't that somewhere written down? I mean, I keep seeing it pop up. I just think that it is an attempt at controlling women's bodies, and more specifically, an attempt at making sure that there are more white children born.
And Blue said it. I was trying to find the words for this. He said the decision was made without any scientific fact or input. Also, that was the other thing. Where are these scientists who are disputing this crazy decision, saying, "Wait a minute, you're way off base. We're scientists. We know you love God, but we're scientists."
Well, Sunny on The View, they've been going at it this week, because Sunny, the former attorney, I don't know if she's still an attorney, but she's very clear that she believes in this decision, that life starts at conception, and that she believes that that's a child. So it's, we're looking at people who we would say are intelligent in their way of thinking about certain things, who are really very religion and faith based on this one. And
right.
Well, I just know that, I remember having conversations with female friends about a television show. Thinking it's just popped up. And I've had conversations with female friends who, when I said to them, I'm watching this Handmaid's Tale and it's fascinating, and they were like, I cannot watch it. It scares me. And I feel that we are moving in the direction of controlling bodies in that way. And I was, of course, being somewhat dismissive of going, like, we would never get to that point. Like, I don't know why you feel that way. And I literally called them and said, I kind of understand where you are now.
Right, because it was like, knock, 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 we're here. It's exactly where we are.
Yeah.
Well, more shall be revealed on that, but I just, it's just a crazy time. Again, this is America. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Oh, my Lord. Okay. All right. Okay. So
you're verklempt. Come on now.
I am. I'm a bit. It's overwhelming. And you asked yourself that earlier, like you asked us, like, how did we get here? And it's a really profound and deep question to ask ourselves in a society that takes steps forward around enabling people certain rights and privileges and so forth. To see them be rolled back in the way that we have been in the last couple of years. Beg the question, whether it's the right to marry, the being able to read a book, control over your body, like seeing these things being rolled back asks the question, how did we get here?
Yeah, that is the question. How did we get here? How did we get here?
So, speaking of how did we get here, the former president, you guys know I don't speak his name very, very often. I either call him 45 or something else. But anyway, he seems to believe that all of these indictments about him, and he's got a whole lot of them against him, but he seems to believe that these indictments have endeared him to the Black community in particular, and that he has not only the sympathy of the Black community, but that he's going to get a lot of votes from the Black community. So he's claiming that Black voters are fans of his who view him as a victim of unjust prosecution. And obviously we've seen folks like some of the people in the images who are standing behind him, who are wearing the hats. I'm convinced that many of these people are paid to be at these rallies and so forth. But we've seen some of this here. But he's saying that it's endearing him, but the polls are saying something different. They are saying that The most recent USA Today Suffolk University poll found that Trump's support among Black Americans has stayed consistently low since 2020, and that 83% of Black Americans view the legal actions against Mr. Trump as appropriate.
I agree with you, Bobby. The narrative that's being put out there that Black folks, African American, particularly Black folks, are supporting Donald Trump. I think it's a narrative that the media, if you will, is putting out there, and I don't believe it. I don't believe it, and I think Joy Reid from CNN, I think she's on CNN, MSNBC.
Mm-hmm.
Joy Reid had a wonderful piece on this that I posted on my page. And if you guys go to my page, you can definitely see it. I'll put it on the He Said page also. Very, very informative, and I agree with her on that.
Yes,
I really do.
That whole narrative that Black people were being, held accountable, and it went in the sense that if President Trump won, that it would be because Black men voted for him, and she was eradicating that narrative that is not the case. That the vast majority of people who elected him the last time were indeed white males and white females, and it was not predominantly Black males. But I do want to say very quickly, just when you thought that this person could not say something that was more offensive and racist, he was speaking recently at the Black Conservative Federation and talking about the fact that the lights were so bright there, he couldn't see anybody. He couldn't really see everybody, but he could see the Blacks. He said, the only people I can see right now are the Blacks. I don't even see the white people. I see the Blacks.
Yeah.
As he was pushing that little golden slipper that was in the image right there. So
yeah.
Are we going to jump directly to that? Because
you can go right ahead and jump right directly to that. Yeah.
There have been some people who have been saying, oh, well, Trump is really smart for pushing these like $399 gold sneakers because, Black people like sneakers. They were like, that's what's winning them. So there's a connection to this little story. Well, anyway, Trump's super limited $399 gold sneakers sold out in under 2 hours. Here are just some key facts because I know you guys have been hearing about it. The Never Surrender high top gold colored sneakers. There was only 1,000 of them being listed, and there was a maximum of 3 pairs per customer. You had to go to gettrumpsneakers.com in order to get them. I can't believe I've just given you that website.
And don't
exactly right.
You did. It went right out of my head. Okay, I didn't hear it.
Good. I mean, it was not a really clever name at all. But they sold out. They sold 1,000 in 2 hours. Each pair is numbered, and at least 10 will be autographed at random. That's what the promise is. There are critics and skeptics who are like, those shoes will never be made. Those people just gave all that money for no reason. Apparently, they're also offering low top sneakers and a white shoe called POTUS 45, and of course a red sneaker, and those are listed at $199. I'm just like saying, look, the sneaker line is not political. It has nothing to do with any political campaign, and it's not owned or managed or controlled by Trump or any of his affiliates because we can't do certain businesses in certain states. But they do say that his name has been licensed under a paid agreement. So,
can I ask you all just a quick question?
Sure.
Yes, you can.
Can you imagine if Barack Obama were running for president and he came to a rally and put sneakers
up
on a podium saying, this is my sneaker? Can you imagine how he would have been slaughtered and just literally deemed so unfit to be the president of the United States of America?
Well, he was unfit when he wore a beige suit. He wore a khaki suit, and they said he was unfit. That was unpresidential.
I can't help it.
So can you imagine? No, yeah. Actually, I can imagine had he done something like that. Yes, I would. Yes, I could.
This man has no bottom. Like it just. But again, he could be as out the box as he wants to be. The fact that people will spend money and do that is, I
beyond you.
Yeah.
I need to say something. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all we have some more show, but I need to take this moment to give you a disclaimer because I thought about it, but let me give it to you right now. The views and opinions expressed tonight do not necessarily reflect the official policy or pattern of the Black Press USA or the National Newspaper Publishers Association. I just want you all to know that. And I wanted to get it in earlier, but I forgot. And so I'm going to go through this next because we got 10 minutes. And I just want to bring up, ladies and gentlemen, if we can go back to Donald Trump for 1 second and his immunity case about the Supreme Court. They are going to hear his immunity case, and this will buy him some time so that he will not go on trial before the November 24th election. The Supreme Court will hear the case the week of April 22nd, and during that time, the charges held against him by Jack Smith, these are the folks who are doing it, who have been held by Jack Smith for his role in the January 6th insurrection will be on hold, and he will not go on trial during this time. But what I want to say, the clincher for me here,
what's the clincher?
The clincher is Clarence Thomas, one of these Supreme Court justices, is going to rule on whether Trump has immunity for crimes his own wife was also involved in. That's all I got to say with that. That's all I got to say with that. That's my whole commentary.
It's a mess.
A mess.com.
A mess.
A
mess.com. This insurrection has deep roots and wide branches, and we are seeing them all, and we're seeing it all play out, and we're setting ourselves up to have it happen again.
What happened to the notion that no citizen is above the law? None. You're elected.
Well, at the same time that they're saying that Trump is immune to persecution because he was the president, same people are trying to prosecute Joe Biden. It's like, well, if he's the president and he's supposed to be immune from being persecuted for certain things, how can you be going after the current president?
Well, they can't do that now because the Secret Service lied. And so about President Biden's involvement with his son. So, so that's been blown out the water. So they have to step back. But ladies and gentlemen, guys, we are so on fire right now. We got 6 minutes and we got to get a little bit of entertainment news in here for you all real quick before we go. So first, Vash, I for those of you who has knocked out of the water as I was last week when the Wendy Williams, Where is Wendy show, her documentary aired last week. It was very hard for me to watch. And all I'm saying is that these, what do you call it? Executive, what do you call these folks that Britney Spears had? Conservationships. Yeah. In Wendy's case, it is a mess. It is a mess. And my heart goes out to her because she does not look good. Did you all see it?
I did.
I saw clips. The producers, Mark Ford, executive producer Erica Hansen, and Brie Miranda Bryant, an executive at Lifetime, they've come forward and said if they had known about her diagnosis, they never would have rolled a camera.
Her recent Alzheimer's, yes,
and aphasia diagnoses, right? That they said if that had come out before they had started rolling tape, they would not have done that because, but they still did, and they still put together something that did not make her look good at all.
Because she was the executive producer. She was paying for it. So they got paid. So see, people's motives, I hear what you're saying, but your actions are doing something different.
Totally different.
That
piece. So so pray for Wendy.
Pray for Wendy. And it is a very difficult documentary to watch because it literally is like seeing the person over time. It's very sad. It's very sad. But as we continue our entertainment news in our final minutes here, Mea culpa. Have you heard about the Netflix Tyler Perry production, Mea Culpa, starring Kelly Rowland of Destiny's Child and Trevante Rhodes? I'm sorry. Well, it's getting mixed reviews and it's getting great viewing numbers and so forth, and people accepting it as entertainment and just a guilty pleasure. But the critics have torn it apart. They have ripped it apart. They've said it is the worst of Tyler Perry movies. And so
he needs to get a writer. He needs to stop writing right now.
I am telling you, Alvin, Kelly Rowland. Kelly Rowland has been looking absolutely stunning along this entire press.
She did
movie, and then she shows up on the Today Show in an outfit with 2 collars.
Yeah,
collars.
It wasn't good. It wasn't a good look. It wasn't a good look.
When you go to the irregulars bargain basement filing, even they would not have sold that.
But on Mea Culpa, she delivered as she delivered. If we could keep moving, she delivered on Mea Culpa. She made us believe her. But
you raise a good point. Tyler needs to, if you want to direct one thing, stop writing. Let somebody else write it.
Let somebody else write. So you all, but look at Mea Culpa and see. I know this next story. I don't know if we can get through this real quick, but we got to touch on this because this. Go ahead.
There's been another accusation against Sean Puffy Diddy Combs, sexual abuse charges by Rodney Little Rod Jones, who worked on Diddy's 2023 album, filed a suit saying that there's more sexual abuse. He alleges that he's witnessed Combs and others engaging in illegal sexual activity while he lived there and worked with Diddy from September 2022 to November 2023. Claims that Diddy forced him to solicit sex workers, some of whom were underage. He says he witnessed them being drugged at Diddy's request. He even said that he believes that he was drugged because he woke up naked and disoriented in bed with Combs and some of the sex workers. So more is going to be revealed in this case, but this has just been filed and he is asking for $30 million in damages.
Wow. I have nothing to say on that one, but Diddy, fix your life. That's what I have to say. And if he could take pointers from our next story, Don Lemon just got paid $24.5 million after they ousted him at CNN. You all know that Don Lemon is my Diana Ross of journalism. I've often said it. So I am very, very happy that he got his money. This $24.5 million after he was ousted after taking that journey to the morning show, of which I wanted to call him and tell him don't do it, but he did it after he made a comment about Nikki Haley and her age, and they fired him. So kudos, congratulations to you, Don Lemon. You are my Diana Ross of journalism. Collect your coins. Okay. That's all I'm going to say. Bam, bam. Well, we have come to the end of our show. This hour goes so quick, you guys. But look, this hour does go really quick. But ladies and gentlemen, the month of March, you guys have to tune in. We have put a series together for you. We're calling it March for Art. Our series will start next week. We will have artists that will come on the show every week. Next week, we will have top male model, restaurateur artist Alvin Clayton Fernandez will be here. DC-based artist Glenn Fry will be here, ladies and gentlemen, and New York artist and educator Desmond Beach will be some of our special guests that will tune in next week or starting next week through the month of March. You want to see their art. You don't want to miss it. And these guys are incredible. And before we go, our words of the week. Everyone has a will to win, but very few have the will to prepare to win. And that was a quote by Vince Lombardi. And, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say to my amazing team, we made it through 59 minutes. We did it, and we did it with giving you what we want to give you guys every week. A great show. So thank you, Vash and Bobby. Thank you, viewers.
Thank you, Alvin. And thank, all the viewers who just
all
that energy and love. We appreciate you.
And Sharon and Damien didn't say hi to you. Hello, Sharon and Damien. You guys have a good week, and we will see you on the next episode of He Said.
He said.
He said.
You all be safe out there. Love you.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.